Steelers GM Kevin Colbert met the press and had a lot to say. And as a blanket statement, I agreed with almost nothing. You heard the clip to start the show on Kevin Colbert calling his quarterback room great. Nah, that's not it. A shot Ben Roethlisberger, a disappointing Mason Rudolph, a bust in Dwayne Haskins, and Josh Dobbs is still there. That's the total antithesis of something great. It's a mess. It's one of the worst quarterback situations in the entire league. The 2022 starter isn't here. Ben's going into the Hall of Fame on the first ballot, but last year he looked like a 38-year-old coming off of major elbow surgery because he's a 38-year-old coming off of major elbow surgery. And this needed to be addressed by Kevin Colbert last offseason. Now, picking at 24, Pittsburgh simply cannot and will not address the quarterback position. The top 5 QBs are going to be long gone. And you cannot waste a day 2 pick on a quarterback where there's no guarantee. You tried that with Mason Rudolph, and at the time I loved it. It didn't work at all. And listen, there are too many needs. You can't reach on a round 2, round 3 quarterback when Pittsburgh is so bad in so many areas. Much worse than last year on the offensive line and on defense after losing Bud Dupree. Pittsburgh desperately needs a running back. Everyone and their mother, including mine, and my mom does have a mock draft out, has mocked Najee Harris to Pittsburgh at 24. I have been outspoken that Pittsburgh has the worst running back room in the league. I said it last year, 365 days ago. Pittsburgh fans watching the show yelled at me, by the way. They finished dead last. Dead last in rushing. I was light years ahead of the curve. Now, as a philosophy, I love the stud running back in round 1 if you're a great team and it's a cherry on top. Pittsburgh isn't close to being great. They haven't won a playoff game in 5 years. You cannot justify the running back over a stud and starting offensive lineman in round number 1. The Steelers are messy. They've created their own mess. And listening to their brass talk, it's going to get worse before it gets better. Brian Gutekunst says Aaron Rodgers is his guy, and I kind of want to break into the shoulder shrugging emoji or scream, well, if he was your guy, then you would have traded up last year for a project quarterback as his replacement, and you would have given him a stud receiver. It's an all-time folly, an all-time draft gaffe. And there's no reason to believe when it's all said and done that Aaron Rodgers is going to be there long-term in Green Bay. There's major reason to believe that 2021 will be Rodgers' final year because of Goonie's 2020 draft, and at some point he's going to make Jordan Love play and get rid of Rodgers by saving $25 million in the salary cap. So, yeah, it's all kinds of sad and backwards and flat-out wrong. Now, this might surprise you after I finish that rant, but if Goonie doesn't pick a receiver in the first round, you're not going to get a Friday time to shine rant that there's blood on his hands. Picking at 29, there's a very realistic chance that the best player on the board is a linebacker or a corner, a defensive player who, you know, could stop Tom Brady on Championship Sunday. Now, please don't misinterpret here. I would really like to see a receiver in the first couple of rounds for the Green Bay Packers. See the top 8 receiver prospects on your screen? There is amazing depth at the wide receiver position, and it could be a round 1 wide receiver. That certainly could happen. And I think in round 2, you could also pick a cat to make Aaron Rodgers happy and make the Packers a better team. But the stench of the Jordan Love foolishness looms. And it'll never go away. And it's going to become worse if it drives the most talented quarterback ever out of town. Trey Lance was fantastic today on the critically acclaimed Good Morning Football show, incredibly well produced, on the NFL Network. And I love the confidence, and I love Trey Lance. He has the talent to be Carson Wentz when Wentz was playing at an MVP caliber. I think eventually he could be Josh Allen. You see it right there, a monster arm, a great athlete, very smart, hard worker. The problem is the lack of experience in a now league. I still think Mac Jones is going third to San Francisco for all of the reasons that we have documented. Kyle Shanahan hasn't ruled out Trey Lance because Trey Lance can flat out play, and I get it, and I agree with it. Listen, I think Trey Lance could be great. I think he'd be perfect for the Denver Broncos at 9. They might even trade up to 7 or 8 to make sure they get him. I could see New England or Washington or Chicago trading up for him. And without question, he fits San Francisco. I just think the lack of experience hurts in a win-now situation compared to Mr. Mac Jones. I love Trey Lance. I have for a long time. I love his talent. I love his upside. But I think he ends up going between 7 through 10 in the draft, which might turn out to be the best thing for his career.